Hey, everybody, welcome to the Dave Burgess Consulting Incorporated Thursday Facebook Live. I have a special guest with me here tonight, and it is Tisha Richmond, all the way from, well, a little north of me in Oregon. Tisha, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me. It's so good to be here.
Absolutely, yes. We're happy to have you. We're glad you're joining us. If you are joining us, make sure you throw your name over there in the comments. Let us know where you are joining us from so we can check in with you. And of course, as always, everybody that throws their name over in the comments has the possibility to win a book tonight. You'll never guess what book it could possibly be. So tonight's winner will win Tisha's amazing book, Make Learning Magical.
Pointing right
Yeah,
there.
there you go. Right below her there on the screen. Make Learning Magical is the prize tonight. And I see we might know this person.
Hey, hi Tara.
Tara Martin is joining us, beating Kristen into the comments. I don't know, like that's well, I'm assuming we'll see Kristen in here in a second. Oh, all the way from Kansas? What? Like what's up?
She got a big win this week in Kansas.
Yeah, like I mean, everybody gets lucky once. I mean, to beat North Carolina, surely. I mean, the 1 seed beating the 8 seed, barely, beat the 8 seed. I don't know how excited we are about that. And certainly, since all of us around the world are Tar Heel fans, we're very sad to see Kansas win the national championship. And I mean, the only thing worse would be seeing like the Chiefs win a football game. We don't want anything like that. But generally speaking, yeah. So the championship is over, and the Tar Heels are second place. So let's celebrate the Tar Heels. I'm just happy to see Tara joining us because I wasn't even sure there was Wi-Fi in that area. Like that's pretty good.
I did one of the. I joined in what the March Madness kind of thing, like in our district, they did a thing where you filled out the brackets and all of it. And I basically filled out the whole thing based on any connections that I had to the school. And so Kansas got me fairly far, but I think I put San Diego in my final slot because that's where I have a connection. And that was the wrong move. So I ended up like at the very bottom, I think.
Yeah, San Diego, we had a rough loss. We should have won that game and advanced on, but yeah, not a good finish for us. Dawn Harris, Plan Lap author, is joining us tonight. Kristen is here. Yesenia is here from Texas, I believe, and we're so glad to have all of you. And so wrong? Like what? No. This is true. Like it's the Kansas Jaywalkers, right? Isn't it the Jaywalkers? Isn't that like a misdemeanor? I'm pretty sure they're called the Jaywalkers, something like that. So yeah.
So many friends in the chat. I love it.
Texas, KC all the way. Oh man, I don't even know why they're allowed to have a football team.
I need to do better. Next year, I'm going to do my research and I don't know. I should have had Kansas at the end. Why didn't I? I don't know. I knew better. Sorry, Tara.
Yeah. So the reason I'm hosting tonight is because Tara didn't want to drool on screen.
She can't feel it currently.
Yeah, she has a numb mouth. And so she thought that could be a disaster. So, yeah, I don't know, Tara. I don't know why Dawn is supporting you in all this. But hey, Monica, sketchnoting master herself is popping in.
Hi, Monica.
Good to see you. Good to see you. All right. So Tisha, I have something I wanted to chat with before we get into some content, and that is that you have recently been a little bit of a world traveler. And you had a crazy like hopping from one spot to another spot to another spot. So maybe fill us in on some of your recent travels that you had.
Yeah, it was amazing. So it started out in Palm Springs at Spring Q, which is a conference that I've always loved. Just such a great energy and vibe, and so many amazing educators there. It's Palm Springs, which is always beautiful. My dad and stepmom live in Palm Springs, so it's always kind of a bonus part of that trip to get to visit them. But just to be in person at a live conference was amazing. So I'm super grateful for that. And I got to present for the first time with my colleague and actually my boss in the school district. and we presented on professional development and something that we did with our district, and having a kind of a conference day to kick off our school year this last year. So that was super fun. Got to do my first boom presentation, which was wild and crazy and super fun too. And then I had my big gamification session. I did a meet the author, meet the podcasters. So it was a very busy and exciting time, and just had some really great conversations and just chats with people that I hadn't seen in person for quite some time. So did that, then
hold on a second. So
okay.
we're gonna stop there. First of all, that feed was amazing from the conference. Definitely gave me FOMO. I miss being at conferences so much, and then to see just all of you there and connecting with each other and going to sessions, and then all that was just hard to manage, hard to handle. So I'm so happy that you got a chance to do that. For those who do not know, you said you did your first boom. I think probably maybe a lot of people have no idea what a boom is. So for someone who doesn't know what a boom is, what do you mean you did your first boom? What is a boom?
Yeah, so a boom is a 3-minute, they call it a 3-minute mic drop. So basically you have 3 minutes to share an idea, strategy, whatever it is you want, you're passionate about. And you have no more than, I believe it was 9 slides to be able to tell your story in. And so there were, oh gosh, I want to say maybe 10, between 8 and 10 of us that presented a boom. So each of us had 3 minutes at the mic. And when you were done with your boom, the whole audience says boom. And just kind of, it's this very energetic, just awesome, just feel like a great energy in the space when the boom presentations are going on. And it was on the keynote stage this year, which was super fun. So I had a great time. I had a great time doing it. There's a great group of people that were there presenting as well. And I remember it a couple of years ago. I don't know what year it was, Tara. You'll have to drop it in the chat. But I remember watching Tara do her first boom. I think that might have been the very first year that the booms were happening. And Ann Cosma, I believe, was the originator of the booms. And she emceed that year. And so after that, I'm like, oh, someday I'm going to have to do this. This is so fun. So
I could just picture Ann leading the big boom at the end. I can see it. So absolutely. So a couple of things about that. First of all, for those who haven't done something like that 3-minute thing makes it sound like, oh, that was how easy could it possibly? I mean, three minutes, that's easy. No, trust me, the shorter something is like that, the harder it is to do. Like I would way rather do 60 minutes than try to come together with a TED Talk at like 18 or under. I'd way rather do a TED Talk at 18 or under than do like a 3-minute boom. Like it's tough to pull something together that's going to be cohesive and finish up in 3 minutes. Now, I know you said that you got to auto advance your slides. Some of these are set up so that the slides are automatically go at every certain thing. Like you have no control of your slides. They just go. And so you have to have your whole presentation locked down to that auto advance of the slides, or you're in trouble. You get off base. So it's a little stressful to try to do something like that in 3 minutes with a it's a hard time limit.
It's a hard time limit. Yeah, no, I was super grateful that I didn't have to have my slides auto advance. Tara might have had that when she did it. But the problem with that is that you kind of have to have all of your content equally portioned among all the slides, because you have this specific amount of time, where in my boom, there were some slides that I spent a little bit longer on than others. And so I was really grateful that I was able to advance it. So yeah, but it was hard enough. I'm glad I had what I had. I'm glad that I did it. Super fun experience.
Yeah. And Dawn, you and me both, because the idea that I'm going to like stand up and be done in 3 minutes is just not realistic. So there'd be fight. They would have to like have security pulling me off the stage. Like, no, that's it. 3 minutes. You can't do anymore. But it does sound like something that is super cool, super fun. Okay. So sorry for that. I interrupted, but so you're in Palm Springs, and my understanding is from Palm Springs, you did not go home.
I did not go home. I flew to Seattle and had a small overnight stay in Seattle, and then took a red eye, I guess you'd call it, to London. And I had the opportunity to go to BET, my very first BET conference, or it's actually a trade show. I think it stands for British Educational Technology Trade Show. And it was in the Excel Conference Center in London, and I had an amazing 5 days. I got to tour London for the first couple days. I spent a whole day with Jenny Long and Celie Clark. They go by Jenny Lee if you follow them on Twitter. And so we toured all over London, which was super fun. And then Wednesday through Friday, I was with the Canva for Education team. And I got to do live presentations on the top of the hour in the Canva for Education booth, and got to live demo. And it was an intense, wild and crazy 3 days, but oh my gosh, so much fun. I just had the best time.
And for those of you that haven't seen it, maybe go back in Tisha's feed and check out the Canva booth, which was just off the charts amazing. They did an amazing, the setup was just gorgeous. It was beautiful. Just a super wonderful booth. And if you haven't ever done anything like that, where you're presenting over and over again in an exhibit hall, those are long days on your feet. And like you think that, like, oh, I'm just going to be like in this booth here and doing a few presentations. At the end of those days, those days are exhausting.
Yeah, no, it was intense. And you're right. The Canva booth was absolutely beautiful. I mean, I think it was the most beautiful booth in the entire thing. Just very welcoming. They just had I don't know, like plants and just things that just drew you into the space, just beautiful colors, which of course Canva is a design tool, right? And they did not disappoint with how they designed their booth. And it was right at the entrance to the expo hall. So as soon as you scanned in, we were right there. And so I think they said the heat map showed that we were one of the top 4 booths during the 3 days, which was amazing, and just fun just to talk to educators from all around the world. I'd be talking with somebody from India and then someone from Ireland, and just learning about what education looks like in their schools, which was just fascinating to me. So, but I had a very hoarse voice for the last day because you're talking loud. It's a bustling space, and you're trying to hear and all of that. And so I definitely had lost my voice.
So that whole experience was more FOMO for me because, you're at Palm Springs connecting, you're at this conference, you're presenting, then you're in London, you're touring around, you're seeing all these amazing things. And then at that show, which is, I would love to make it to there sometime. I always see the tweet, it's always a massive feed from that conference or trade show as well. And so from London, I mean, surely you've been at Palm Springs, you've been in Seattle, then you've been in London. So you must have been ready to go home to Oregon, but yet you did not. The trip and the adventure continued. So where to next?
Yeah. So long story short, I had 2 flights that got canceled out of London to come home to Oregon. And this was like one canceled like 2 months ago. And then about, I don't even know, 2 to 3 weeks before the trip was supposed to happen, the second flight got canceled on a Sunday. And there were no flights available with that specific airline on that Saturday or Sunday back to where I needed to go. And so in the meantime, I'm chatting with my friend that lives in Delft, Netherlands. And she was my college roommate. I hadn't seen her since like, I don't know, 1997 or 8. And, but we talk once in a while on WhatsApp, and we were talking, and I'm like, oh, so close, but yet so far. I wish we could see each other. And then as I'm finding that these, flights are getting canceled, and I'm not able to get out of London on Sunday to be back at work on Monday, I'm like, wait a minute, I could fly to Amsterdam, and maybe there's a flight that can get me from Amsterdam home. And so what happened was on Saturday morning, I flew from London to Amsterdam. She lives 30 minutes from the Amsterdam airport. So she came and picked me up from the airport. I spent like this whirlwind 24 hours with her in Delft, got to meet her family, got to see this adorable town, like canals going through, people are on like kayaks and boats, and there's shops and amazing cafes and markets out, like big cheese wheels, like these little shops with cheese and chocolate and all of these things. And I was in heaven. I'm like, this is my kind of place. And so I wished I could have stayed longer, but we just had a wonderful time together, and then jumped on a plane on Sunday morning and headed home. And so I mean, you can imagine I was very tired. By the time I got home, I was just beat, and I was sick.
Did you besides souvenirs, did you bring anything else home from your trip?
I just maybe brought a little case of COVID home. So that was a bummer. But I recovered. It forced me to rest for a couple days. It was just 2 days down. And then I recovered pretty quick. And I'm back in the swing of things this week. But it was, I have to say, it was an amazing time. And I'm glad I just didn't test positive in the Netherlands, because my friend might still be hanging out with me. She might have gotten sick of taking
in quarantine.
Yeah.
Over there. Yeah. Donna's shouting out your work with Canva and saying that she's got some fantastic ideas from some of the stuff you've been doing. Awesome. And yeah, absolutely. Definitely a movie setting. Kevin is joining us. Good to see you, Kevin. Thanks for popping in here.
Good to see you. Jay. Hi, Jay.
Yeah. 3D printing master. Jay Billy has popped in. Good to see you, Jay. Thanks for popping in here. All right. So now let's get to Oregon. So Tisha, one of the cool things that you've done in your district of late is you've created this extreme lesson makeover program. Maybe like if you would share with us what this is all about, and dive into that as our topic for tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a student engagement and professional development specialist in Southern Oregon, in a district called Medford. So I support 20 schools throughout the district. A lot of things that I do in that role, a lot of tech integration, but a lot of just helping to boost student engagement and to provide professional development for teachers. So as anybody in education knows, it's been a rough couple of years, and teachers are exhausted. Students are exhausted. I mean, it's just been a trying time. And so just really was thinking of a way that I could help support teachers and celebrate teachers and help bring some joy back into teaching and learning, because the demands have been so great that I really thought back to that year in 2014 where I had lost my joy for teaching and learning. And if anybody has read my book or heard my message, you'll know that back in 2014, I was ready to leave education, and I was dreaming about being a barista, ready to make lattes, because I had lost, or I thought I had lost, that joy for teaching and learning. And so it's been this amazing journey of me finding that joy again and really being more passionate about education than I've ever been. But what I was seeing is that these teachers that I'm surrounded by, not only in my district, but around the nation and the world, are losing touch of their joy. They might have lost that spark or joy for teaching and learning. And so as I was thinking about that, I was thinking about reality television shows, which I do. And again, anybody who has read my book knows that in my classroom, when I taught culinary arts, I would draw a lot of inspiration from reality television shows, and I would bring those themes into my classroom to really gamify. And so I was watching a past episode of Extreme Makeover Home Edition, and my wheels started turning, and I started thinking about that. And I started thinking about, in this episode, in this show, they are celebrating these families, and they are gifting these families with a complete home design because they were deserving, that they had whatever factors in their life were difficult, and they wanted to do something special for this family. And so as I was thinking about that, I was drawing connections to the teachers in our district. And I thought, you know what? These teachers in this district are so special, and they have worked so hard, and they are so deserving of something special. And so we put together this extreme lesson makeover design team. And if you want to show the slides there. I'll kind of go through. And
Well,
so,
and before you continue, Tisha, I just wanted to say, Madame Nick has joined us. A Winnipegger is in the house. Lisa is here, and Darby is here. So I just wanted to greet the people that have popped into the chat in the last little bit here. So we really appreciate you joining us. And Tisha, take it away.
So good to see you all. I'm so glad you're here. So we put together this extreme lesson makeover design team. And so these are incredible instructional specialists within our district, all have amazing skill sets, all different backgrounds. And we knew for this first time, we wanted to focus on middle and high school. And so what we did is we kind of put together this 6-step process for this extreme lesson makeover. Again, all drawing inspiration from Extreme Home Makeover. And we started it off by just really hyping it up. And we wanted it to be something exciting. We wanted to hook them in and get our teachers excited about this idea. So we created with our communications team in the district a video, kind of a promotional video promoting this whole concept. And we shared it out in all the communication channels within our district. And we basically had nomination forms. And so a teacher could nominate themselves, or they could nominate a colleague for this extreme lesson makeover. And so those nominations came in, and then the instructional design team met and we looked at the nominations, and then we decided on 2 teachers. We kind of had to see what we, with our time frame, could really manage, like how many makeovers could we really do. So we picked 2. And then we went to that teacher's classroom and we surprised them with balloons and a banner. And I think in this last slide, you can see here this banner that I created on Canva. It wasn't just me that created it. A colleague and I created it. And then we presented that banner and we all signed it, and then we gave them balloons. And we surprised them in front of their students because we wanted this to be a big deal. Like, we're celebrating you. We're not saying that you need a makeover, a lesson makeover because your lessons are bad. We're saying, no, you are so deserving because you're doing amazing things. You're working so hard, and we want to do something to celebrate you. So then in step 3, which is kind of the heart of this whole process, is the dream session. And this, I'm going to shout out Tara Martin, because it was the Innovators Compass, the Real plus Innovators Compass that she created, that was inspired by Ella Ben-Hur, that we really used as this inspiration point. And so what we did is we sat down with the teachers and we had an hour with them. And we walked them through this engagement compass. And so the very first step is we wanted to find out what brings the teacher joy. Like, what is it in their day that really they can get excited about and they find joy in? And then we moved into asking what their current classroom reality is. What does it sound, look, and feel like? We wanted to know, how do you know when students are engaged and connected to their learning? What does that look like? And then what are the roadblocks that you and your students encounter? What stills your joy? And if those roadblocks were removed, what does your dream learning environment look, sound, and feel like? So again, if you have used the Innovators Compass, which is amazing, and you can find those resources on Tara's website, it's very similar to that. But what I found was this was so, so powerful. I had used the Innovators Compass with my Spark Starters in our district when I started the Spark Starter team about 3 or 4 years ago. And it was super powerful in those one-on-one conversations then. And so I thought, wow, if we can focus this on engagement, like, how powerful would that be? And I learned so much, we all did, about these teachers in that process. And we're really able to see where these teachers were at, what was bringing them joy, what their obstacles and their current reality was, and then where they want to go. Like, what are they dreaming about for their classroom? And so then after that process of having that dream session with the teachers, then we go into step 4, and that's lesson renovation, where the instructional design team come together and we look at, based on this dream session with the teacher, what they want to renovate. What is it that they really want to work on? And then we all come together with our different backgrounds, our different skill sets, and we make over this lesson for the teacher. And in both cases, it looked very different because one teacher had very different needs than the other teacher. And so right now we're actually in step 4 of this process, and we're just about to do the reveal. In fact, we have one of our reveals tomorrow morning, and we're going to bring them, this teacher, breakfast and a coffee, and we're going to reveal this plan to them. And then we are going to plan a day to co-facilitate this lesson with the teacher. So not all 5 of us are going to co-facilitate it, but 1 or maybe 2 of us will work with this teacher to actually go in the classroom and make this lesson come to life. Because we want to be able to not just say, here's the lesson, have fun with it, but we want to be a part of that to kind of show how this could be done. And then the last step is to have that reflection time where we are going to debrief with the teacher afterwards, talk about how the lesson went, what things they thought went well, what things that they'd want to improve. And then ultimately, we want this to continue, right? We don't want it to be this, okay, we're going to be transforming one lesson and then that's it. We want them to continue discovering and finding joy in their days, in their lessons, and we want to help them continue that process and spark joy throughout their year with their students. And so it's been super, super fun to just do this and to see this idea come to life. The instructional design team that I'm working with are legit. Like, they are the most amazing educators that have such a passion and a heart for students and for learning. And so I'm learning so much in the process as we come together and we plan. It's just the most fun parts of my week is when we come together and really just talk through these ideas and get to create. It's just an amazing, amazing process. So that is the Extreme Lesson Makeover. And I'm excited to see it continue. We're already talking about next year and rolling this out again. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it leads us.
Yeah, there's so many things to love about that. I love how you took it from the idea from the reality show, right? And I know that's something that you used to do quite a bit in your classroom. And for those of you, like, when you get Make Learning Magical, you're going to get all sorts of ideas about gamification and how to really spice up and energize your class. And Tisha was a culinary arts teacher, and but the ideas can be applied across the curriculum. And but what she was doing was using like amazing races and food truck challenges and just such fun stuff. If you think about all the most engaging cooking shows, for example, that are out there, and she was taking those things and bringing them into her classroom, and then you add things in like Amazing Race and all that kind of stuff too. So your classroom was indeed a magical place that I know kids love to be in. And I know from speaking to you about this, one thing that I think is really cool is you've had more than one student, I believe, come back to you and tell you that they've become a chef.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's so amazing. I've seen just recently a student, they had this full, I don't know, like story on a student that has become an executive chef at a restaurant that just opened in our region, which is just so amazing to be able to read about that student's journey. And so many times in the Valley, I've gone to a restaurant and then discovered that the chef was a student that had been in my classroom. And it just warms my heart. And it is amazing, and that equally as amazing, honestly, is when I see a student, and this just happened to me actually right before I left for Palm Springs. I walked into a clothing shop in town, and a student said, "Oh my goodness, Mrs. Richmond." And I couldn't believe she recognized me because I had my mask on at that time. And she says, "I just made this." She was talking about a recipe that she had just made last night. And she said, "It's the recipe that we made in class. I still have kept all of the recipes that we made, and I use them all the time." And that just like so warmed my heart. And that's what I loved when I was teaching culinary. It didn't matter. I knew that whether students were using the skills that they were learning to actually bring them into a future career, or whether they were using the skills to just be able to make food for their friends and family, like it was a win-win. And to be able to provide those lifelong skills that they would want to continue to learn throughout their life was an amazing thing to be a part of. And I loved it, loved all of it.
And I think it even goes beyond that, so not only possible careers, as some have gone into, not only them as cooks themselves for their family and friends and situations like that, but I think also just an appreciation, a greater appreciation for the culinary arts. And as they, when they go to restaurants and experience meals from chefs and all, they can pick things out, recognize things, and they can, it gives them a greater kind of like cultural appreciation for the food around them.
Absolutely. Yeah. There is so many skills that could be learned in the classroom when I was teaching culinary. I mean, you think about the employability skills that can be transferred to any career. You think about like you said, the appreciation of just food itself, where it comes from, how it's processed, how it's made, how you can take something that you've always had and then make it your own. Like I love that creative process in my classroom where they might learn a method for something, but then they would totally make it their own and maybe even make their own version of this thing, and really bring their own flair into it. And I loved how they presented food. And then also like all of the merging of other content areas, right? Because you're having to read a recipe, which is one of the hardest things to be able to read. They're writing recipes. They are, so much math, like the fractions and all of the math that's brought in, the science behind cooking and baking, all of that. And so it's the subject where all of these different subject areas kind of come together, and kids that might not think they're good at math or may not think they're good at reading or writing or science all of a sudden realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm actually doing that in here. And that's a pretty awesome aha moment for students to see the connection.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. Well, so I'm pumped about this extreme makeover and excited to see all the final results and all that. And so I'm sure you'll be sharing that widely on Twitter and your other social networks, which brings us to the point of let's find out how we can all get connected. So if people want to see some of these reveals and what happens and how these things go, where can people best connect with you, Tisha?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am posting that journey on Twitter. So you can find me at Tish Rich, TISHRICH. I'm like this in my picture. And on Instagram, I am Tish Richmond. So a little different, but close. And then I also, if you want to listen to past episodes of the Make Learning Magical podcast, which I've had a lot of amazing guests, and many of those guests are actually in the chat. Monica, Tara, Dawn, you, Dave, and so many people have been on the show. And so I'd love for you to check out those past episodes and all the amazing things that my guests have shared. And
Looks
then
like we have lots.
too.
What's that?
My website, TishaRichmond.com. You can find my resources and blog posts there.
Yeah, and Tara's put all that information into the comments. So thank you very much, Tara, for being behind the scenes tonight. And that's where we've kind of switched roles. Usually I'm throwing those things in the comments and Tara's up on screen, but I got tapped on the shoulder. I got put into the game tonight. So
yeah, we hope you can feel your face soon, Tara.
Yeah, I had to be ready, and Tara will be recovered and back to normal soon.
Yes.
What this did save us with Tara being out of commission tonight, it did save us some time spent talking about the fact that she's getting her new puppy this weekend.
I can't wait to see it. I know. So fun. So fun.
So watch out for next Facebook Live. Could be very puppy centric, possibly. I'm not sure, but maybe the puppy will be shown on screen. I don't want to put any pressure on Tara to do that, but
yes,
we'll
definitely. See. I'm sure that we will get lots of puppy love and puppy pictures, and I'm here for it. I can't wait.
It's only a matter of time before that puppy is doing those crazy CrossFit kipping pull-up things.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Have like little bar attachments for the paws or whatever. I'll do like some little kipping things.
I hope it has a cute little CrossFit outfits.
Don't encourage her, please. All right. Well, Tisha, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. And for everybody tuned in on Facebook Live, we really appreciate you joining us. Again, as I always say, we know these weeks are long. These weeks can be tough. And the fact that you take a little bit of your time on a Thursday night and come over here and spend it with us makes us super happy. And so we're inspired by everything that you're doing for kids, and we appreciate you. and have a wonderful Friday, and then enjoy a well-deserved weekend. And we will be back next week on Facebook Live. Catch us in T-Lap Chat on Monday night, Lead Lap Chat Saturday morning, and we'll be back on Facebook on Thursday night. So good night, everybody.
Good night.